Hey, everybody. I am super excited for this conversation that I'm getting ready to have and this person who I am getting ready to introduce you to. So, what I'm going to do for 1 second is I'm going to put Tiffany back below. I'm going to talk to you guys for about 1 minute and then I'm going to bring her back up and let you hear all about what she has going on. Okay. All right, Tiffany.
All right.
Okay. So, guys, right now I am super excited to introduce you to Tiffany Graham. She's an amazing woman. And the reason why I'm really excited is because, as you know, I am right now filling up our 3-day boot camp, Plan to Profit. Tiffany has been a student and a client of mine for a really, really long time. And one of the questions that I get a lot when it comes to Plan to Profit is, will this work for me? If I'm now starting and I don't have any programs, will this work for me? And I'm hoping that you being able to hear Tiffany's story will help answer some questions that you may have. Okay. So before I jump in, I want to make sure that I let you know how to join us for Plan to Profit. All right. And so let me pull that up for you really quick here and give you the link. And then we'll go ahead and we will bring Tiffany up so you guys can hear all about her. All right, so there's the link. I'm bringing Tiffany up now. That's where you will go and register. Okay. All right. So Tiffany, I just wanted to introduce you a little bit. Don't worry, you'll hear it. And tell everybody about our journey together. Right. So we've been together for some years now. Right. How long has it been?
Ooh, I want to say
Maybe
4 years because my youngest son was little.
Yeah, 4 years.
Mhm.
So it's been a long time. So that means we have a lot that we can share, right? That means we have a lot that we can share. So Tiffany, tell everybody before we jump in who you are. It's all about your company. What do you do?
Awesome. Well, first off, thank you so much, Nyala, for having me here. I'm super excited to be able to sit down and share my experience about this process. It's one of my favorite things to do. I look forward to this.
Yeah.
Again, I am Tiffany. I am the CEO of Miss CFO, as in Chief Financial Officer, and I am a money mindfulness coach. And what I do exactly is I help women in corporate America to build the confidence, the strategy, and the support to become financially free. I have worked in the financial industry for about 7 years now, from doing investment banking and working with big Fortune 500 companies and small businesses, families, women in the US. I've had some international clients. So I have a wealth of experience from, small scale to big scale. I just love finance. I love numbers. I was like the kid back in the day when we used to have like bank coupon books. That was before everything was digital. I'd be the person like super excited, like, oh, when they stamped your book and gave you your updated balance. And I'm just like a numbers person, and I'm super excited about educating people in terms of wealth and generational wealth, and everything in between.
Yeah, I love that, especially when you talk about generational wealth, because it's something that we need to be talking more about. So I love that. So, I remember when we first met, this was something just like what you're hearing, guys, what you're hearing her say about how much she loves being able to help people with their finances. I remember when she first came to me. I remember when, I got to hear her story and the passion behind everything that she wanted to do. And so I'm hoping that she'll be able to share with you guys. So, Tiffany, I'm hoping that you'll be able to share with them, how did you feel in the beginning when you decided that this was something you needed to make sure more people knew about and you needed to get the word out? Like, how did you feel in that space?
Got you. So the Tiffany then versus Tiffany now is like big. Big difference. Back then I was like figuring this out. This is where Miss CFO was a different version. It was relatively new, and I was trying to figure out like what I really want to do with this brand. And I myself was in a just my own going through my own journey of rebuilding. So I started off, my career, you know, got a good job out of college, was making six figures. I implemented my own financial system that, allowed me to be able to build a really good, financial portfolio for myself between investments and things like that.
Hmm.
So while being a single mom, so I was rocking and rolling, doing my thing.
Yeah.
And then I went through this period with, jumping out, becoming a entrepreneur for the first time, which I was not prepared to do. Just jumping out, I didn't have any clue, any plan, anything. I'm just like, I got this idea and I think this is gonna work. And
Hmm.
I have this money that I can put towards it. So let's just do this. And I'm gonna jump out off the fence type of person.
Right, right, right.
And that was not a good idea. And I, hit a really bad place financially, which catapulted to a lot of other things like, depression. I had a son during that process,
Yeah.
end up having postpartum depression. So it's just a really like, just a cycle of like figuring things out
Out.
in time frame of really getting to the point of thinking about, okay, this is what I really want to do and this is where I have a passion. I was rebuilding my own finances and going through my own personal journey where I had to essentially dig myself out of this hole that I created. And
Mhm.
so I was really like, you know what, hey, let me take people along this journey with me, because I was like, if I am here, then I'm sure there are other people here too. And I'm sure there are other people who figure out, once you're at rock bottom, like the mountaintop looks so high and
Yeah.
you can't possibly figure out how to get out of it. And so being that guy to help you, like, listen, allow me to show you how I did this, and then, and rebuilt everything, and put myself back into a really good space financially. So I was doing that, but the difficult thing about that is like when you're in the midst of it, you have a little bit of what is like this imposter syndrome where you feel like, how dare I be able to try to help somebody with their own money? And I'm
Right.
having my own financial struggles. Although, again, I knew the information as far as what to do, but I am knee deep in the thick of it.
Yeah.
So it was hard for me to really formulate exactly and do it with confidence. So the awesome thing about working with Niala then is that she helped me to figure out the story and really put that in a clear, concise way,
Yeah.
and really kind to make some focus and have some sense. The difficult part about me is that I needed that direction, but me going through the process, I was not ready
Yeah.
at that time.
Yeah, man, you know what, Tiffany? I didn't even know. Now, this is not scripted. So I hope you guys know this, right? Like, Tiffany doesn't know what questions I was going to ask. I don't know how she was going to respond. But it's so funny how certain things come out the way it comes out, because I think that a lot of people find themselves in that position, right? Where it's like, I've done this stuff in my life, I've done this at my job, I have this education, and then life hits and you have to use your own systems and your own strategies to build yourself back up. And then sometimes you come into this space where everyone is experts and everyone, and it's like, wait a minute, I'm still building. Who am I, right? Who am I to tell people? I have a similar story to that too, Tiffany, with me, because you remember I had to close down my hair salon. And so
Mhm.
here I am coming on business on online telling people I'm gonna help them grow their business. And I had to deal with the fact that I closed one down and I actually lost one, right? And it's like, why would people listen to me? And I remember us having this conversation. I don't know if you remember this when I said to you, but guess what? Even you falling flat and rebuilding is credibility.
Mhm.
This is should add to your confidence, because you actually did it twice, which
Mhm.
you're in a perfect position to help people do what you do. You know what I mean? Which is have
Mhm.
a stronger financial portfolio. So I'm glad that you brought that up, and thank you for being vulnerable to share that. Right. So let's shift. Okay. So because I remember you took a break and you decided to go through your moments, you came back up and you came back again. And I remember that we went through Plan to Profit. So not only were you a Market Your Message beta client, but we went through Plan to Profit. Do you remember that?
Mhm.
What made you decide to join Plan to Profit the first time? What were you looking for?
At that time, I was looking for some help on how to get like a systemized way to get everything done. So I'm a planner. And I love to have things um, figured out and knowing what we're doing because it just helps my analytical mind. My
Hmm.
problem was I didn't know an effective way on how to do it to where it would create results and it would be very organized for me. So
Yeah.
when I already like it was you, so it's like okay,
Right. We had our experience already. Right. Mhm.
yes. And then, for me, just the whole, I mean, even just the name, like Plan a Profit, for me is catchy. And I was like, oh, okay, this sounds like something that I need that is
Right.
going to, ultimately help me to do this to where I am taking out the frustration and the procrastination too. Because which is funny, although I am a planner, I'm also a procrastinator too.
Not funny. Very real. Very real. Hmm.
So I really needed something that was going to help
Yeah.
me to get over those hurdles that I have.
Yeah. And so I want to say to anybody who's listening that I hope that Tiffany, what she just set you guys free a little bit because you're not the only one, right? You're not the only one who procrastinate. You're not the only one who want to know what things are going to look like. I think sometimes in the industry, sometimes coaches or leaders would make you feel like you don't need to see the big picture. Just take one step, right? But I can resonate with you, Tiffany, by saying like I'm the same way. It's not that I need to know. I know that we can't predict the future, but I want to know what I'm working towards. I want to plan. I'm a planner like you too. I like directions. Is
Mhm,
that you? Because if that's you, then Plan to Profit is going to be great for you because I'm analytic and because I like organization and directions and I like to be able to see, that's how I create my programs. You know what I mean? So you're not alone if you're someone who feels like that, right? Okay, so you joined Plan a Profit, and let's talk about what happened after. And again, we're still talking about the first time.
mhm.
So, what were you able to do? Like, did it bring you clarity? Like, what were you able to set out and do once you went through Plan a Profit the first time?
So that was really great. So at that time, I had a team. I had my partner, and I had a girl who was doing like assistant work for us. So I
Hmm.
took that and like basically we sat down and just like knocked out the rest of the year.
Hmm.
And what I want to say with actually let me back up a step before I say that. So one, it just made the process easier to plan out everything to have a running start of like, okay, listen, I have all these things that I sat down and figured out what we can do. Now let's add some dates to it. Let's, put some sprinkles and sugar on top and get all this thing, fully planned out for the year. So one, it was great having that. And then also two, but just the simple way to get things done. Like when you think about it, like how in the heck can I sit down and plan out like a whole year of programs, content? Like it sounds like
Like it
ridiculous.
could be big.
Yeah, and it sounds just like overwhelming to think about it. But once we actually like once you got us into the process and the steps to do it, and it's like, oh, okay, this is not bad. Because I think like it's just an overthinking process. Like thinking, okay, I need to come up with all these different ideas instead of, hey, no, you don't.
Uh-huh.
And for me, that was a game changer of just like the light bulb going off and really like taking the complexity out of really doing like business
Yeah.
strategy, because that really is just the key to having a successful business. When I think about like telling my clients about having a financial strategy, I mean, the purpose is so you have direction and guidance, and it makes your life simple. And I really walked out of there feeling like I just took a big weight off my shoulders.
All right. So now I know that we went through the plan to profit. A year went by. You implemented the things that you planned out. And then now you decided this year that instead of doing the boot camp, you were going to actually do a VIP session with Plan to Profit. So, for those of you who don't know, I don't only offer Plan to Profit the boot camp, but I also do one-on-one planning sessions with individuals. And I remember because I saw your name show up and you was like, all right, Niala, I'm ready to plan or something like that. You said, and I'm like, I said, oh, she's ready. Right. So what made you decide that, okay, I wanted to do this again. And this time I want to get even more hands-on with the planning.
So my business has changed again. So now in this current phase of life. So COVID time was just like a shift around of really getting, even more clarity on what I want to do for this business and the direction for it. So
Mhm.
for me, it was almost kind of like starting, not completely over, but it was a pivot.
Ah, okay.
Yes. So with this pivot, I knew that I I needed more help.
Yeah.
The boot camp was great, but I really wanted to get that one-on-one time with you, because
Mhm.
I know that combining, okay, the process of going through the planning and then adding your sauce onto it with the one-on-one was going to be the thing that I needed. And it was funny. I want to say the next day after we had one of our sessions,
Uh-huh.
my son's dad, who at the time when I met you initially when we were in a relationship, and
Mhm.
he had been very active with helping me like kind of figure out my business. He was asking me, he was like, remember that lady, like when you were first starting the business and she was helping you, like she was really good. He was like, you still talk to her? You still work with her? I was like, it's funny that you said we just had a
Session.
session.
Right. See, so he still remembered you was doing your thing.
And for me, that was good confirmation because the timing was just so funny.
Yeah.
But again, I know that I just needed that type of support.
Mhm.
And this time around, in this iteration where I said, okay, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to really fully maximize all the opportunities that I have, and I'm going to invest in myself the right way, because this time around, I don't want to keep like trying to bootleg everything or try to like nickel and dime everything. And I know for some people that's not
That's
all
what
that.
you need to do right now.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
mhm.
because I mean, it takes money to do some of these things. And fortunately, because I went through my process again,
Uh-huh. That's right. Plug.
I have put myself into a position to be able to, have the means to make some more investments. And I said that I want to be very intentional about having that right help along this journey,
Mhm.
because I'm planning for something really big for this. So I can't try to nickel my and dime my way to this abundant life that I have, that I'm preparing right now with this iteration of this business. Um,
Mhm.
and and there is something about working with you that just pulls it out of me.
Mhm.
Um, and that was really it.
That
Like
was
that.
it.
Yeah, I mean, when I saw it pop up, I was like, yeah, the in person is cool, but I want you.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Right. Well, I'm glad that you said that because of that. What you just said is the reason why I had added. I don't know if you noticed that I added a bonus where they would get 30 minutes one-on-one with me at the
Mhm,
end of the boot camp, because
mhm,
sometimes, like you said, in the boot camp we're working as a group and you might have some one-on-one things that you want to talk about. But hold on, let's back it up.
Mhm.
Something that I want to ask you, and the reason why I'm asking this is because a lot of times when I talk to people, like I did my master class yesterday, and a lot of times people would come and say, "Can I do this even if I don't have programs yet? Can I do this even if I don't have an audience yet?" And I know that when you started at the ground level as well. So, what was your experience with starting at the ground level, planning out how you was going to start growing that audience and putting your programs out there? Where How was that for you? Were you satisfied?
So I even think like, yeah, even with this the current state, because essentially with this pivot, I used some things from before, but for the bulk of the core products that I'm going to have, they all were from scratch.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the things that you and I worked on was creating a signature framework. So these things came out of the work that we did with Plan to Profit. So even though I do have somewhat of an audience, I'm reintroducing myself because I am adding a change here. So with that, it took, creating a new
A
some
new
tweaks to the
framework.
system, creating a new framework, creating new products and new services. So I mean, essentially, it was like I was starting from scratch. And again, it's one of those things that in the moment it sounds difficult,
Yeah.
but when you go through the process of how you teach us to plan, then it all comes together. Because once I started one part of the planning, I'm like, oh, okay, I can do this and I can do this and I can do this. And it's like, oh, you kind of get that momentum and it just starts to come.
Yeah, yeah. That is so true. And again, you just keep bringing up more and more things because last night, one of the questions we got on our masterclass was, do I have to have multiple offers or can this work if it's one offer? Do I have to be a coach, right? Or can this work if it's just a membership? And I know one of the offers you have is a membership framework, right? And so I guess, what I'm basically trying to say is, as you can see, there's no one size fits all here. Now, let me just make a quick disclaimer because something Tiffaney just said about us creating her signature framework, that's a perk because of our VIP session, right? So on Plan to Profit, I'm not able to put together frameworks, with each person. That was a part of our, private session. However, imagine if you had a framework, right? Then it will make your job even more easier when it comes to planning out your content and the things like your launches that you're going to be doing for next year, right? So I really hope that you guys are paying attention. And I also hope that this is giving you some type of value or answering any of the questions that you have as it pertains to, is Plan to Profit for me? Should I go this route? I'm hoping that you're getting your questions answered. So I have two more questions. My final question, well, my second to last question is, what would you say to anybody who's on the fence right now of joining, Plan to Profit, joining the boot camp? What would you say to them?
My biggest thing is, can you afford not to? So this is my second round of this. Every time this has shortcut the process for me. Like really, guys, I think the biggest thing, like with there's, everything moves so fast
Yeah.
with anything that you want to do. There's nothing new under the sun. We really don't have a whole lot of time to be wishy-washy right now, because the time that you're sitting pondering and overthinking, there's somebody else out there that is getting in front of your audience. Now, that is not to say there's not an opportunity for you, but again, sometimes success loves speed. That's one of my favorite quotes. Success
Yep.
Mm. And sometimes you just have to feel it, like if this resonates with you, or that you really need help. Because again, is the key to how you're going to profit, with knowing, all right, where are my numbers? What am I offering? And what's my step to get to that offer? Like everything, like the core foundation of you taking on your next year for 2020, like that's the foundation. So now all you have to do is go in and fill in the gaps. And
Yep.
that's where I'm at right now. Like I'm working on filling in the gaps, but I don't feel like it's November and we're almost at the end of the year and I don't feel stressed like, oh my God, we're about to be at
What am
another
I gonna do?
point. And what am I going to do? Because my whole year is mapped out. And we
Yeah.
really did it in, 2
We did it
sessions.
in about 8 hours. Or no, it was about, if we add together, I think our first session was like 6 hours, and then our second one could have been like five, or because I think our second one we finished early.
You guys are getting what, 3 days?
3 days.
3 days boot camp? I mean, you'd be surprised of how much you can get done in 3 days. Like you are literally going to be astounded by the results, and then you're going to be able to walk away and now be able to run into 2022 and be light years ahead of the competition, because you'd be surprised, like some people go into the new year and don't have anything done or figured out. So think
Yeah.
about having your whole year done in 3 days. Like you really, like, it is like, I'm telling you guys, because I've done this 2 times, and I'm just not saying this because I love y'all. I'm saying this because, like, it
It
actually
is.
works.
Yeah. Yeah, and I tell people the same thing, is that I know sometimes it seems biased because it's me, right? And I'm the one teaching it. But the framework really comes from my trial and error of sitting
Mhm.
in the middle of the night till 4 in the morning trying to figure these things out, and going through failed launches and going back and looking at numbers and see, and so that's my only goal, right? So I can't promise that you're going to make 7 figures next year. That's not what this is promising you. But what it is promising you is you'll have the clarity and confidence as you walk into the next year, right? What this is promising you is this is going to be the shortcut. So it would be longer. And that's something you just said that's important. It would be longer if you didn't have the instructions, and you would go through the 4 and 5 years that I went through of going in circles, right? But now you have a plan. And not to keep it going, but something you said about, well, as soon as we started, then it started to make sense. Then it started to come together. And that's something that I think that it's important for me to touch on, that when you come into programs like Plan to Profit, that's very systematic, it's important to follow step by step, because as you follow step by step, you will see the house start to build, right? So the same way you do brick by brick, and then eventually there's a wall. Well, that's the same thing, right? So step by step, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh my goodness, I have a whole year plan, and it's great. And so a lot of people think about, we talk like Tiffany, we talk about the pandemic, right? So when the pandemic happened, a lot of people had to pivot, right? Now, people who had plans like myself, it was very easy to pivot, because really we didn't have to change programs. We just had to change how we was delivering it,
Mhm.
right? Versus other people who didn't have plans, it's like, man, now I'm lost, like I don't even know what to do right now, because I don't know where to turn, because there was never a roadmap in the first place, right? So you have to know how. You can't wake up and say, for 2022, I want to make $100,000, but don't know how you're going to get there. It's very
Mhm.
important, you know.
Exactly.
So my last question, which has nothing to do with Plan to Profit, I really just want people to know about you, what you have coming up for next year. I love your movement. I think it's really important that guys, we are in the communities where we are having these type of financial conversations. So just let everybody know what's coming for Miss CFO for 2022.
Well, one, I am dropping my Miss Money Mastery course, which I'm super, super excited about. It's going to be dope. A 6-month course, basically taking you from I don't know what the heck I am doing to a confident, financially savvy woman who is ready for financial freedom. So I'm super excited about that. I have actually in December, I
Mhm.
have the Insecure about December of this year. I have the Insecure about the Money Boot Camp. We have the for my Insecure lovers, which it's the wait list is coming out this week.
Okay.
And we have the Insecure About the Money podcast that is coming too. We have our live at the J Spot girls hangout session that's coming. So there's that's like
So
I have
much
so
things.
many things. so many things that I am working on. That's why I've probably been up to like 1, 2 o'clock in the morning every night, getting it all prepared. Because honestly, like once I started getting into the flow, like all these ideas just started coming,
Starts to
and I just
come.
mapping them out. I've been putting together the email copy, like just doing the work behind the scenes and just, taking it, step by step. But again, I have the ability to be able to do that because I know what my year looks like. So again, I have
Mhm.
the capacity to be able to, work smart right now.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah,
Work
I'm super excited about the courses, the boot camps. 2022 is really all about for me and this brand about really establishing my footing in this space, and I'm really all about not just your traditional, hey, create a budget and this is how you stop spending and things like that, but my sweet spot is really just all about the mindset with money, the foundation with building financial freedom and really having the right financial in place with your money and your mindset, because a lot of it starts with what you think, what you believe, how you talk, the energy that you bring. And that's the thing that is holding you back for financial freedom. So I really want to, spread that message and make sure that I am helping as many women in corporate America to have the opportunity to live a life of freedom, because we only got one life. So we need to live
That's
it now.
right. That's right. Oh, all right. So, guys, you can just search Miss CFO. I know definitely on Instagram. Are you running a Facebook group right now, or is there any, or should everyone just follow you on Instagram?
Follow me on Instagram. We do still have the Facebook group. The Facebook group is gonna get a little rejuvenation love in there too. But we do have a pretty a pretty good
Pretty
group
decent.
there.
Yeah.
So when I come back, after we do the Insecure About the Money bootcamp, when we come back into the group, it is going to be that's where we're gonna host our hangouts and things like that. So yeah, so definitely that's going to be a place. But follow me on Instagram at MISSCFO, and you will get all the deets.
Yes. All right, guys. You heard it here. Make sure you follow Tiffany. Tiffany, I just want to thank you so much for spending this time with me. I also want to thank you for your vulnerability and your honesty and just sharing your experience. I hope, guys, that this has helped you. Again, if you want to register for Plan a Profit, which you should, you can go ahead to the link that you're going to see below this video and join us. Okay, so the doors are going to be closing really, really soon. So we want to make sure that you get your spot. Okay, all right. Don't forget that if you don't take action, you won't be able to see results. So see you next time.
Bye.